Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. Today is our Monday episode, and I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. You know, we're kind of coming off of the holidays still, and probably still eating some of those delicious desserts and things that were made for us. Whatever's still around, and it's still worth eating at this point. But in any case, we have a new song for you this week as we continue our journey through Into the Wild, Uriah Heep's 22nd studio album, released in April of 2011. Well, we are catching up, folks. Catching up to the current state of the band. I'm excited to get there, but I'm excited to still go over each and every one of these songs that they recorded. Then we got some cool stuff after all these shows are done. And so stay tuned for more. But for now, it is Monday, and you guys know what we do here on the show on Monday. It's time to talk about some important things. First and foremost, the clock is ticking. Let us get this band inducted into the damn Hall of Fame in Ohio. There is a link in the show notes. There is a link on the website that I have for the podcast, scotthaskin.com/Uriah Heep podcast. Actually, just go to scotthaskin.com, click on the Uriah Heep podcast link. It's the easiest way to go. It is highlighted there towards the top of the page. Make sure that you click that link and get signed up for the petition if you haven't already done so. It's ridiculous, the bands that are missing from the Hall of Fame that have been the shapers of the music that we have today while still creating the music that we have today. And this band should have been in there a long time ago. So let's make it happen. You could also go to facebook.com/HeepRockHall, hit enter. And that will take you to the link that will take you to the sign up page. It costs you nothing. There is the ability to donate some money to the cause if you would like, and you are more than welcome to do so. However, getting your name on the petition is the first and foremost important thing. So there you have it. Now, cool things. We have some really cool box sets that have come out over the last few months for Uriah Heep. The Everyday Rocks box set from BMG, 7 picture discs, 7 t-shirts, a wall calendar, inspirational quotes from the lyrics on these really cool cards. You guys probably saw the unboxing video that I did. Absolute treasure chest for Uriah Heep fans. The picture discs are worth the price alone, personally, I think. Beautifully done. The artwork is incredible. The digital restoration that's printed on the disc is just gorgeous. Nice, thick picture disc, too. I don't think I've ever seen albums that were ever produced that thick before. So you know they're good and sturdy. Absolutely amazing package, and comes in a lovely decorative display box. So get that. If you like, you can also get the Choices box set, which are several discs that are suggestions from the band members as to the songs that you should listen to from their perspective to really understand and enjoy Uriah Heep. Very cool. It's an extension of the 50th anniversary box set where they had a few of these in there. Now they have added a couple more with more recent members. And it's a really, really cool thing. And, you know, to get the band's perspective and listen to the songs that they feel are the most important for the band, it's actually a really cool thing. I dig that. So check those out. You can get both of those at the Uriah Heep official website, uriah-heep.com. And Dave White has set up all kinds of cool stuff there for you. Tons and tons of pages over the years that he's added. It's an incredible site. And he also does the mick-box.net site. So check that out for all things Mick Box. Really good stuff. Thanks for doing that, Dave. And Dave also is the one that shares the podcast posts on Facebook and Twitter. He does an awesome job at that. Gets up like super early, listens to the episode, posts it. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dave. And so we have some people to thank. We have our patrons of the show, the people that continually just give me money to babble on endlessly. And I appreciate it very much. At the $5 easy living tier, every month, Kenny Wymore and Brad D. At the $3 The Wizard tier, we have Peter Voss, Goran Eriksson, Frank Thielgaard Mortensen, and William Rose. And at the $1 Traveler in Time tier, like Han Solo, Frozen in Carbonite, we have Airtight Gravesite. Very cool. Thank you, each and every one of you. It really means a lot to me. It helps me pay for the cost of the show, and I appreciate that very much. Also, would like to thank my friends at Podbean. They are the ones that host the show. They are the ones that I upload to, and they distribute it out to all the places. Could not do this without them unless I was using somebody else, but they've been pretty cool, so why would I? Awesome stuff. I'd also like to thank my friends at Audionamics for making the amazing program Instant Dialogue Cleaner. It's really cool stuff, guys. It helps keep this show sounding really, really good. Along with, I'd use a little bit of RX from iZotope just to take out any clicks and pops that might happen, especially this time of year with the static electricity in the air. You never know what can appear in the podcast. So I do run it through the declick processor in RX, which is a really, really cool thing. So thank you, iZotope, as well. Thank you to Scott Lazinski, who did the graphic logo for the show, both the day and night one. I absolutely love it to this day. It's just fantastic. I'd also like to thank everyone who has shared the podcast with people, shared episodes, shared the links, helping get the word out there to other Heap fans that might not be aware that this exists is a very, very important thing. So thank you guys for everyone who has helped out. I really, really appreciate it. Also, I would like to thank my brothers at the Deep Dive Podcast Network, George and Tom at the Metal Gods Podcast, Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madmen, the ultimate Ozzy Podcast, Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z Pod, Andy and Matt at Hawk Binge, Paul, Joe, and David at In the Lap of the Pods, Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the Other Side, The Simple Man at Skinner Reconsidered, and of course, my gateway drug into the Deep Dive Podcast Network are Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast. They're actually on their way to see Deep Purple in Florida. I don't remember the exact date they're going. I know it's sometime around mid-January, so I'm really jealous of that. Haven't seen a live show since I saw Deep Purple at the House of Blues. That was the last one, I believe. No, there had to be one. I think I saw Heap after Purple. I can't remember now. Yeah, I think Heap and Judas Priest might have been the last concert I went to before the pandemic, because I think that was after Purple played at the House of Blues. All great shows, though. Absolutely wonderful to see them. There are some great venues here in Vegas to see concerts at. So looking forward to these bands coming back to the States. Deep Purple's only doing a couple of dates in Florida, then heading back to Europe. Heap's got a whole bunch of European dates lined up for 2022. If you are out there or if you can get there, go see this band live. They are amazing. I've had the opportunity to see them a couple of times. The energy on stage is just amazing from the time that they walk out to, after you leave the theater, because that just stays in the room with you. Pretty amazing stuff. I was smiling all the way home for both shows. The first one they headlined, the second one they opened for Judas Priest. I'm not the biggest Judas Priest fan. I've just never really gotten into their music for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe I haven't given them enough of a chance. I should probably do that. But I stayed for a few songs, heard what Priest had to offer. I thought they sounded great. But I was really there to see Uriah Heep anyway. So great stuff. Go check them out while you can. Also, a couple other cool things to check out. Brandon, his show is called Metallicast. Great podcast on Metallica. GottaHear'Em.all.com is a great resource for the live histories of bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Deep Purple. Lots of cool little tidbits and trivia to go check out as well. And of course, Ace on Music, the podcast/YouTube show that is done by the band's manager, Ace, and he can be found on Stitcher and can be seen on YouTube. Great stuff. Now, the YouTube one is under Ace the Music Man. The Stitcher show is under Ace on Music. So that's how you can find those. There's also links in the show notes. Go check them out. Great stuff, guys. Now let's get into today's episode. Okay, today we are here to talk about the song I Can See You. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Here's the beginning of it by Uriah Heep. Another just no nonsense right out of the gate, let's get into it kind of song. I do love those, especially, with heavier songs. It's kind of cool to have that. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of an intro too, but in this case, I think it works great. It's a great riff. I like riffs that alternate between, faster picking and slower picking. Those are they tend to be more interesting because they're more dynamic. This one's a really good one. I like that it starts out with the faster, drops down a little bit, goes back up. Pretty cool. I do have, I was worried about this with the last song, but I kind of feel that this mix is a little bit too bass heavy to where it's muddying up things. I like a good heavy sound. I like a good, well mixed bass. I like a little extra bass sometimes. Not that sub-harmonic bass that they have in like hip hop, but a good rock song with a heavy low end is nice. But between this and riding on the crash cymbal, there's a lot that's getting muddied up in this mix so far for me, at least in the headphones that I'm using here in the studio. It may sound different to every single one of you, all listening on different devices. But for me, that's what I'm hearing. And it's not the best. It's not the most optimal. It's not bad. It's tolerable. But it's just riding that line really close for me. But the riff is really cool. I like everybody's parts. I love the organ swell. That was fantastic. Do love one of those now and then. I imagine Ian DeRosier, if you're listening, you probably enjoyed that too. But in any case, the mix might be a little bit of an issue. We'll see as we go on. But so far, musically, I really like what I'm hearing.
She's a candle that lights my room. Better look out, 'cause it's coming here soon. Ooh, you're in my mind forever. I hear every word you say. Ooh, you come to me wherever and turn my darkness into day.
There's something interesting going on with Bernie's voice on this one. It kind of sounds like he's singing on the radio. Like they put a little bit of an effect on it that gave it that, radio sound. It's not bad. It actually cuts through quite nicely, which is the good thing. And maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. But it definitely sounds a little bit different than it did on the last song. And it typically does. Not real heavy. It's kind of subtle, but it's there. I like the fact that the bass backed off a little bit from that really thumpy low end. There were actually some really cool things that Trevor was playing during that verse. But the sound was much better, I thought. Of course, we still have Russell riding the crash cymbal, which is going to add a lot of that just certain frequency that tends to cloud things up a little bit. It also makes like when you're riding a crash cymbal and then you hit a different crash cymbal, yes, the pitch is different, but it kind of takes the power away from that accent, because all you're doing is changing the pitch. You're not really saying this is something pronounced that needs to be defined because you're kind of using that same definition all the way through. So that's something I've always found about riding the crash. Like it's cool to do now and then, but it's something that kind of has to just be laid in the mix just right for it to really work sonically. As far as, composition and performance is fantastic. So that's just what I'm hearing off of the first verse here. I do like Bernie's voice on this. I just think that sound that they're getting for him is pretty interesting.
What it is to be cool. Ooh, you pushed me up the high board, and I took it like a man. Ooh, now I hit that high score. Hear me, mama, if you can.
Yeah, that was a nice change in there to drop out the cymbals altogether, not even play the hi-hat and just hit drums. That was kind of unexpected, but a nice surprise. It reminded me a little bit of, is it Not Fade Away, I think. It's nice when you have the drummers changing the dynamics. You don't always have to be on the hi-hat or the ride or crash cymbal. Sometimes you could just let a little bit more air in there, here and there. If you do it subtly, it's great. If you did it all the time, it would just be obnoxious. But just to, one song here, couple albums later, you do that for a couple of bars and it's cool. So I really like the addition of that. The bass is just kicking ass on this song. It's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, the organ and guitar have kind of taken a back seat to everything else on this so far. I expect that when we hit a change, which we're probably about to, that will probably, rebalance itself a little bit. That tends to happen with Heep a lot. But yeah, it's got a good drive to it. Vocals are great. Just kind of makes me want to tap my foot or bob my head. And that's cool because I really don't physically interact. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I felt there was a change coming, and certainly I was right. There was. I really like the way Russell's playing the snare on this because he's not just doing even strokes, getting louder between the left and right hand. He's actually got some accents in there, which is not the way that most drummers, I think, would play that. So I really like that. It's different and it's interesting. Then the guitars and organ really came back in that part. You could hear much better like I was hoping. So now you're kind of getting what everyone's doing and hearing a little bit more balance in the sound as we're moving through the song. But we didn't lose the bass. That's the nice thing, is that we got the guitar and the keys back, but we didn't lose the bass in the process of that. So we could kind of hear everything in this section. It was really nice.
Tied to the driving wheel, you gave me strength and nerves of steel. Ooh, sometimes I do get lonely. I roll the dice and say a prayer. Ooh, I think about you only. I feel the power when you're there.
I had to play with the EQ a little bit to be able to hear what the bass is really doing, because it is kind of muddy in the mix here, but it's really cool. There's a lot of great work going on here. And there's no doubt, even just listening to this song, there would be no doubt how great Trevor Boulder was of a bass player. But it's a cool song. And I don't think I can say enough how great this riff is that Mick is playing. It, during the verse and in the intro, it's just got all the dynamics. It's interesting. It keeps you just like, wow, this is so powerful. I just want to hear it again and again. And that is the sign of an excellent riff. And I have to say, this is definitely an excellent riff. I really thought that was going to go in a different direction. Hearing that organ swell up, I really thought we were going to get an organ solo on this one, but instead we got just a blistering solo from Mick. Again, the high, crash cymbal riding and the bass, I think, is drowning him out a little bit, at least again in my headphones. You guys may be hearing things a little bit differently, but it makes it harder to listen to. I'll have to listen to this song on a couple of different headphones and speakers and see what I can hear out of it. I'll be interested to see, because normally these headphones are really good and I can hear very clearly, but in this song it's just pretty muddy. So it could be in part the headphones. I'll certainly give that an opportunity, but the mix is pretty heavy and pretty full and low end. So it makes, if they don't make room for the guitars to come through, like they could have lowered the crash cymbal a little bit in the mix, or they could have panned it differently to kind of give Mick's guitar an avenue to shine through. But just the whole song is just really full. You're hearing the crash cymbal in both ears, which really doesn't make sense because you're only hitting it with one hand on one side. So realistically, that doesn't line up. The bass could have been panned a little to a different side too, to give Mick a little bit of room to cut through. The engineer chose not to do that, so to me it sounds a little bit muddy. But the solo itself is really cool, really energetic. I could have used another few bars of it myself. It was going in a great direction. Really dug it. And then a great transition from Russell to come back into the next verse.
And that lights my room. Better look out, 'cause he's coming here soon. Ooh, if we could
In looking at the waveform of the song, it is massively brick wall limited, so it's not surprising it sounds like this. The other thing that I'm hearing, and I just realized that this is probably a big part of the issue too, is that they're trying to get you to hear everything in both ears. So, the crash cymbal you should be hearing on one side is in both ears. The organ is fully in both ears. Same with the bass guitar. I can hear it in both ears. And they really should be panned out. I mean, here we're back to the same problems that I've had with other Uriah Heep albums. It comes down to the production, not the songwriting, not the performance, but the production. I think this really could sound so much better if it had been panned properly. People talk about volume levels and reverb levels and stuff all the time. And whenever I hear engineers talk, I very rarely hear engineers talk about panning, which to me is the secret to a really good mix. Everything having a place that makes sense where you hear it, but not everything can take up all the space. It just doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't go to a concert and hear everything in every ear, in both ear, in every ear. How many do you have in both ears? Things would be leaning towards one ear or the other ear, or some things are meant to be pan center so that you get an equal mix of both in both ears. But yeah, this kind of mixing doesn't make sense. So maybe it's just this song, I'm hoping, because I really like the music I'm hearing. I just think it's, once again, the production is failing a little bit. It's a real shame because there's a lot of cool things going on. And, with the bass being muddied up a little bit, you might be missing some of the really awesome playing that Trevor's giving. I think I can hear pretty much what Russell is doing. I think I can hear the fills really clearly. He's very solid. He's such a great drummer. Phil, I feel like I've missed some stuff that he's played just because it's buried. But, when they bring him forward, they're again putting everything in both ears fully so that, everything is just so big in both ears. And it's just very unbalanced for me. Mick, I'm hearing in the center, not really in either ear, but more in the center. But I do like the builds that he does during that other alternative part too, where the vocals get a little bit more gentle and they do the build. I really like what he's playing there. I can kind of pick it out through everything else. It's kind of got that subtle build that Russell's playing along with. So it's really, really cool. Very dynamic song. I really, really enjoyed those pitch increases from Bernie and then Mick kind of replicating that at the end. That was pretty cool. That was a nice surprise because I was kind of expecting Mick to bust into another solo. And I'm like, where is this going? I don't know what's happening here. And then he was obviously, replicating what the vocal was doing. And then a really nice end, kind of surprising, very abrupt, but I liked it. It worked. With a groove like that, that's another one. Like you could keep going on and on and on with a groove like that and a riff like that and just keep soloing over it and doing different things. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more solo, maybe a keyboard solo, since I was thinking we were going to get one earlier. But overall, great song. A lot of energy, a lot of passion in this one, great vocals, so much to enjoy in this song, despite the issues that I have with the mix. That doesn't take away from what a great song it is. It takes away from how much I can enjoy it. But I see a lot of great stuff in this song, and I'm really, really glad that they put it on the album. I think it's got a lot of energy. I'm kind of like all pumped up right now, and all I'm doing is sitting here listening. So that should say a lot. But very cool song. Great job, guys. Look forward to doing the next one. We'll be hitting Into the Wild, the title track of the album, on our next episode. Take care, guys. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!